The final whistle blew, and the big house erupted, not with Michigan cheers, but with the roar of Ohio State fans. Scarlet and gray filled the air, fans hugging, screaming, and crying tears of joy. The Buckeyes were back on top, and the feeling was electric. Coach Ryan Day, overwhelmed, tossed his headset and embraced his players. On November 29, 2025, Ohio State dominated, 27-9. Players danced on the Michigan logo and sang Carmen, Ohio, with thousands of fans. This win was about more than bragging rights. It was about the program's future. It kept their perfect season alive and put them in prime playoff position. The victory in Ann Arbor was a statement. The Buckeyes were back. The Buckeyes had reclaimed their legacy. For Ohio State, this was more than a game, it was redemption. To understand the joy, you have to understand the pain. For Ohio State, the game is everything. And for 4 years, it meant heartbreak. From 2021 to 2024, Michigan handed the Buckeyes 4 straight losses, each one more crushing than the last. The 2024 defeat at home, 13-10, was the lowest point. The pressure on Coach Ryan Day was immense. Some fans even called for his firing. Criticism was everywhere, and Day felt the weight of letting Ohio down. Even a national championship couldn't erase the sting of losing to Michigan. For the players, the losing streak was a constant motivator. Older Buckeyes had never beaten Michigan. They only knew defeat. Every practice, every workout, they thought about this game. They were determined to change the narrative and bring pride back to Columbus. Fans suffered too. An entire generation had never seen a win over Michigan. Taunts from rivals tested their loyalty, but hope never faded. They believed the tide would turn. This victory was for them, a reward for unwavering belief. The 4-year wait made the celebration even sweeter. The pain forged a stronger Buckeye nation. The pride of being a Buckeye was restored. The losing streak was history. The faith of the fans had finally been rewarded. This was a victory for everyone who never gave up. The Buckeye Nation could finally celebrate together. The game didn't start the way Ohio State wanted. The Big House crowd was deafening, and Michigan struck first with a field goal. On Ohio State's opening drive, Julian Sayin threw an interception. Momentum was all Michigan. Another field goal made it 6-0, and it felt like déjà vu. But this Buckeye team was different. They didn't panic. The defense locked in, shutting Michigan down after the first drive. Sayin shook off his mistake and found his rhythm. The offensive line started to win the battle up front. The turning point. Sayin hit Carnell Tate for a 50-yard touchdown, giving Ohio State the lead. The sideline erupted, and the Buckeyes never looked back. Confidence surged. They knew they could control the game. Before halftime, they added a field goal and another touchdown. At the break, it was 17-9, Buckeyes in command. The second half was all Ohio State, suffocating defense, efficient offense. Michigan's crowd grew silent as hope faded. The Buckeyes controlled the clock, wore down Michigan, and imposed their will. The early deficit was a distant memory. Ohio State's resilience and poise turned the game around. The Buckeyes dominated both sides of the ball. Michigan had no answers. The narrative had changed. Ohio State was in control. The Big House belonged to the Buckeyes. Every play built their confidence. The comeback was complete. The Buckeyes had proven their toughness. The rivalry had a new tone. Ohio State's strong finish was a statement. The game was theirs. At the heart of Ohio State's comeback was sophomore quarterback Julian Sayin. His first drive ended in an interception, but he didn't flinch. Sayin regrouped, trusted his coaches, and showed remarkable composure. He stood tall in the pocket, delivering accurate passes and spreading the ball around. Sayin finished with 233 yards and 3 touchdowns. No more turnovers. Each score was a dagger to Michigan's hopes. He played with the poise of a veteran, leading with calm and confidence. His connection with receivers Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith was electric. Sayin made smart decisions, never forcing throws. He managed the game perfectly, showing maturity beyond his years. In the biggest game of his life, on the road, Sayin delivered. He silenced the crowd and earned the respect of his teammates and the nation. This was a defining moment for Sayin and the Ohio State offense. He proved he could handle the pressure of the game. Ryan Day's faith in him was rewarded. Sayin wasn't just a quarterback, he was a leader. His performance set the tone for the Buckeyes' victory. The future of Ohio State's offense is in good hands. Sayan's cool command was the difference. He turned adversity into triumph. The Buckeyes had found their next great quarterback. Sayan's legacy had begun. He was a winner. Ohio State's offense got a huge boost with the return of receivers Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. Both had missed time with injuries, but their impact was immediate. Tate, back after 3 games out, caught a 50-yard touchdown to ignite the Buckeyes. His speed and playmaking changed the game's energy. Smith, celebrating his 20th birthday, hauled in a 35-yard touchdown. Their presence forced Michigan's defense to respect the deep threat. The offense opened up. More space, more options, more confidence. The running game benefited, and Sayan had clean pockets. Smith and Tate's return was a game-changer. Their touchdowns were highlights, but their impact was felt every snap. They elevated the entire offense. The Buckeyes' attack was unstoppable with their stars back. Their return was a major storyline, and a key to victory. Ohio State's offense was whole again. Football is won in the trenches, and Ohio State dominated up front. The offensive and defensive lines controlled the game from start to finish. The Buckeyes outrushed Michigan 186-100, continuing a 24-year rivalry trend. The offensive line protected Sayan and opened huge holes for the running backs. By the fourth quarter, Michigan's defense was exhausted. Freshman Bo Jackson ran for 122 yards, breaking tackles and wearing down the Wolverines. Every tough yard, Jackson delivered. The Buckeyes imposed their will, controlling the clock and sealing the win. The physicality up front was the foundation of victory. Ohio State was tougher, stronger, and more determined. The line play was a clinic, pure dominance. The Buckeyes' identity was forged in the trenches. This was classic Big Ten football. The performance will be remembered for years. Ohio State executed to perfection. While the offense shined, Ohio State's defense delivered a masterpiece. After Michigan's opening drive, the Buckeyes locked them down. Michigan managed just 127 yards the rest of the game. 9 points was their lowest total in 15 years against Ohio State. The defensive line lived in the backfield, pressuring the quarterback and stuffing the run. Linebacker Sonny Styles led the charge, flying to the ball and setting the tone. The secondary blanketed receivers, making every throw a challenge. It was a total team effort, fast, aggressive, and disciplined. The defense answered every question about their toughness. They shut down their rival on the road. Michigan never found a rhythm. The Buckeyes' defense was the backbone of the win. This was a statement performance. The critics were silenced. The defense proved they could win championships. It was a clinic in execution and effort. The Buckeyes' defense was relentless. When the clock hit 0, all eyes turned to Ryan Day. This was more than a win, it was redemption. 4 straight losses to Michigan had haunted him. The criticism was relentless, the pressure immense. But Day never lost belief. Inside the program, the focus was on building a tougher team. The Buckeyes hadn't lost since that 2024 defeat, even winning a national title. But beating Michigan was the goal that mattered most. This win changed everything for Day. He was no longer the coach who couldn't beat Michigan. He was the coach who ended the streak and dominated in Ann Arbor. His legacy was secured. The players and fans celebrated for their coach as much as themselves. Day's emotional celebration said it all. The weight was lifted. The narrative had changed. Day had led his team out of the darkness. The redemption was complete. The Buckeye faithful would never forget this moment. Day's journey had come full circle. The critics were silenced. The future was bright. The celebration in Ann Arbor was unforgettable, but the journey isn't over. The win over Michigan earned Ohio State a trip to the Big Ten championship in Indianapolis. Next up, undefeated Indiana, a battle of titans with playoff implications. The winner likely claims the top seed in the college football playoff. Ohio State has been perfect all season, but the stakes are higher than ever. The focus has shifted. One loss now could end the dream. The Buckeyes have the talent, toughness, and experience to win it all. Sayan leads a dynamic offense with stars like Bo Jackson, Smith, and Tate. The defense is elite, battle-tested, and hungry. The victory over Michigan proved their mental toughness. The win was the end of one chapter, a story of redemption. Now, a new quest begins, a championship run. The road ahead is tough. But the Buckeyes believe. The dream of another national title is alive. The journey continues. The best is yet to come for Ohio State.